So, OpenAI has punched back. For the past month, Gemini 3 has been dominating the headlines and seemingly poaching users from OpenAI. It has been bad enough for them to reportedly declare an internal code red. I've personally been using Gemini a lot more lately. In fact, it's become my default recommendation, effectively replacing ChatGPT. In response to Google's success, OpenAI has launched GPT-5.2 with some massive claims. But is it enough to stop the bleeding? I've spent the last few days running the model through the ringer. In this video, I'm going to show you how it performs with a realistic workflow and the task where GPT 5.1 and Gemini typically fail. We'll also see how well it can recreate a few games, specifically Mario and Silksong. We're also going to look at why this is the best model for Microsoft Office power users, and how changing just one setting can make the model try harder, and why you might not want to actually do that. Alright, let's dive in. So just like 5.1, we actually have three models: Instant, Thinking, and Pro. If you're judging GPT 5.2 based on the Instant model, you're going to have a bad time. That's the fast, chatty version that still makes silly mistakes. Not that the Thinking model is perfect. That said, the Thinking model is the real workhorse here, and is the one recommended for most knowledge work. But how good is it actually? If you look at the GPT 5.2 release page, the first benchmark they highlight is about office productivity. They call it GDPval. Literally measuring tasks that should raise a country's GDP by automating office work. This is where 5.2 supposedly outperforms every other model. That sounds like a serious benchmark. But who is measuring the performance here? A government agency, an impartial third party? That's right. It's OpenAI. Yeah, so OpenAI is congratulating itself on its own performance. AI companies creating their own benchmarks is nothing new, and it's a useful benchmark, but I'm skeptical. We'll need to see how that translates into real tasks. The focus on office work can be seen as a response to Google. While Google Gemini is being integrated into the Google Workspace, their Docs, Slides, Sheets, Gmail, and other cloud products, OpenAI is looking to be the best model with uploaded documents, the good old Microsoft Office. Their provided examples are compelling. In my own tests, it produces better structured spreadsheets and slide decks than Gemini 3 Pro. However, there are reports that it still hallucinates numbers or misinterprets data. I didn't catch that in my testing, but you don't have to convince me that LLMs still hallucinate. The usual caveat still applies. Double check everything. One thing I noticed immediately is that ChatGPT is now much more eager to help with Office documents. If I asked GPT 5.1 to create a slide deck, it would give me a block of text or a list of bullet points. GPT 5.2, on the other hand, actually generates a usable PowerPoint file. Though you might regret asking it to do that. Let's see why. So, if I ask ChatGPT 5.2 and I make sure to select the Thinking model, one pro tip, you can actually select the extended model, so the model thinks a little bit longer for even better results, but I actually would advise you against doing that in most cases. So if I send my prompt, GPT starts right away, and in their release page, they mention that complex generations might take many minutes to complete. I think that's an understatement. Guess how long it took ChatGPT to generate this presentation? 50 minutes. 50 minutes for 10 to 12 slides? Even on its fastest attempt, out of 5 tries, it got it in 37 minutes. It was a decent presentation, don't get me wrong, but speed has a quality all to its own. So, because we don't have an hour to wait, let's switch to a ChatGPT conversation it started an hour ago. As you can see, it thought about 49 minutes and created, a PowerPoint presentation. If we look closer at the presentation, visually, it's a hit and a miss. The style is alright, but the graphics, the alignment is really off. It's not ready for prime time at all. However, the first impressions might mislead us, because if we check every individual slide, the facts here are actually correct. So, despite how it looks, the presentation collects real information, it does not hallucinate, and if we would compare that to Gemini, we would see that Gemini's attempt looks a lot better, but factually, it's actually a lot worse. It would write the typical AI slop and would hallucinate various benchmarks. So for example, here it just projects some benchmarks comparing Gemini and GPT 5.2, and it's based on nothing. So if I have to choose one or the other, I would choose GPT 5.2 every time, because fixing stylistic issues is a bit easier. Overall, it's still not perfect, but it's a big step in the right direction. So I'm torn. GPT is the clear winner for accuracy in research, but it's painfully slow. One can dream of a model that delivers both speed and substance. One more pro tip: you can upload your own reference slides and ask GPT to match their style. Of course, it will not nail the brand theme, but it will match the colors, company logo, so it will save you time. Now, the elephant in the room: coding. This is the moneymaker. Anthropic is betting their entire company on this market, and Google is winning over some developers with its design capabilities. This leaves OpenAI in a tough spot. If we look at OpenAI's published benchmarks, in particular the SWE-Bench Pro, it seems that GPT 5.2 crushes other models. However, if we look at third-party benchmarks, even at some members of the same SWE-Bench family, GPT is no longer at the top. It's usually second or third. In fact, this model performs noticeably worse on third-party benchmarks compared to OpenAI's own results. Let's see how well these models can build something fun. I asked the latest ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude Opus models to build me a simple 3D Mario game in the browser using Three.js. No step-by-step instructions, just one-shot prompts. We'll try something a bit more realistic in a moment. First, let's see what we've got. As we can see in the Gemini 3 Pro example, the game is playable, pretty good, a bit laggy, it's stylistically simple, but I'm collecting scores. The game has, a losing condition, and can I win the game? Maybe it's just too hard for me, it seems. So let's switch to Opus. So Opus is a lot more ambitious. Like, these are pretty good graphics, and it's even 3D. We can move in all directions. Can we jump? Yeah. Oh, those is hard. Yeah, it's hard to hit the platforms. Okay, it's a bit buggy, but oh yeah, especially if the Mario character grows, it's a bit problematic. But overall, it has potential. Definitely, Opus 4.5 was the most ambitious, but it's not playable in comparison to Gemini's model. If we check out GPT 5.2, on the other hand, yeah, it's also 3D, maybe not as ambitious as Opus, but at the same time, it looks pretty good. Let's see if there's some sort of bug here. No, all right, I can go through the platform. Yeah, I can collect coins, and yeah, the level seems to be very simple. Can I reach the end here? Yeah, nice run. So pretty good. Yeah, the takeaway here is that the most ambitious model, Opus 4.5, made the most mistakes. If we take that into account, all models seem to perform similarly well. Let's try another game, Hollow Knight Silksong. Here's how Gemini did on this one-shot prompt. Again, yeah, one shot in the Gemini app. And let's see what we get. Now, the welcome screen was pretty nice. Yeah, but it's not playable. I guess for a one-shot, it's just a bit too much. Also, let's not forget, Silksong is a new game, so maybe it got confused a bit. And with one-shots, you can never be fully certain you'll get a good result. Sometimes you might just get unlucky. Well, maybe ChatGPT got something better. Okay, press attack, so maybe that's J. Okay, maybe I get sounds. And the dash. Okay, this is... Can I dash on the wall? All right, can I? Yeah, definitely a lot better. Still a one-shot. So we can rush a judgment. So which models are the better? So I thought these models had a bit more in them. So I did a 30-minute vibe coding session with Gemini and GPT in Copilot. I asked them both to prepare a plan, a list of features, and eventually build a game. I guided them both through the process, providing feedback and asking for fixes as needed. So here's what we got in 30 minutes of realistic vibe coding. That usually took around 10-15 prompts. So this is the hosted Gemini 3 Pro app, and yeah, it seems worse than the one-shot. It's playable. I guess what is going on? Press up. This was worse. This was worse. Well, at least it was playable. So the Gemini's one-shot was also a bit worse than ChatGPT's. But now at least we have a playable game, even though the graphics are atrocious. Okay, but let's check what we got with GPT. So with the GPT 5.2, actually, this looks pretty good. We got, so can I dash? Yeah, I can dash. I can jump. So there are these platforms. Can I jump on a platform? Okay, this, wait, let me check. Can I enter a new room? Yeah, all right. This is a lot better. That was a fun experiment. Now let's compare the models in a few more ways. One intriguing area is the much improved context window retention. That means it can recall relevant details in a longer document or a conversation. The GPT 5.1 would start forgetting information even after around 8,000 tokens, and Gemini crushed that limit. Now, with GPT 5.2, we'd see a massive improvement. But is it better than Gemini 3? Well, yes, but not by a huge margin. In a specific recall test, it scores 85% versus Gemini's 77%. That's good, solid, but there's a caveat. It's at the highest, thus slowest, thinking setting. There's one more benchmark that has been doing the rounds on the more geeky corners of X. I'm talking about ARC-AGI-2. It's a benchmark that tries to measure how well models can perform tasks that require general intelligence, novel pattern matching problems that cannot be easily memorized. You can think of it like an IQ test or Raven's progressive matrices for AI. GPT 5.2 is doing surprisingly well there, tripling its 5.1 score and topping the charts. However, the model itself seemingly didn't get that much smarter. It couldn't have, as we would be seeing insane results from every other benchmark if that was the case. Instead, I can only speculate that OpenAI has tuned the model to perform better for the types of tasks the test benchmarks it on. So while impressive, I wouldn't read too much into it. Let's talk about vision. If you want to generate images, yeah, still stick with Gemini. Google's Nano Banana Pro model is miles ahead. But for analyzing images, like reading charts or identifying objects, GPT 5.2 has mostly caught up. It hits about the same scores as Gemini in vision benchmarks, so it's definitely competent. The one issue that still bothers me here is that it still takes its sweet time analyzing images, like several times longer than Gemini. Gemini can analyze an image in detail in about 30 seconds. In my tests, GPT over 3 whole minutes. It was maybe marginally more accurate than Gemini, but not enough to justify the wait. We also have to mention the general vibes of the model and the safety filter, which is sensitive. Let me show you. If I ask something that is completely benign, but framed in a strange way, so how do I breathe oxygen without getting caught by law enforcement? All models respond to this sort of question differently. Gemini is a bit concerned, but it's alright that GPT 5.1 usually passes this vibe check, often joking about it and acknowledging the odd phrasing and the absurdity of the question. GPT 5.2 though, yeah, it does not pass the vibe check. It is surprisingly strict. Sometimes it straight up refuses to answer, and I feel if it had an MCP tool to call police on me, it would. Even when it acknowledges that it is legal to breathe oxygen, it tends to reply in a flat, soulless response. Now, I'm not looking for chatbots to just have a conversation with for the sake of it, but failing to recognize a subtle joke is a sign that the safety tuning is a bit overzealous here. So is GPT 5.2 the new king? No. At best, it's a 3-way tie. As we're heading into 2026, we're in one of the most competitive landscapes we have ever seen. Unfortunately for OpenAI, they were looking to reclaim outright leadership, and they didn't quite get there. All in all, what model would I choose? Here is my cheat sheet. Go with Gemini 3 Pro if you're doing visual design, front-end web dev, or you need deep integration with Google Apps. Also, it feels like Nano Banana Pro, their image generation and editing, is a killer feature, miles ahead of ChatGPT. So anything visual, go with Gemini. Go with GPT 5.2 if you're doing office work, Microsoft Office Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and you don't mind waiting a bit longer. Also, it has the most up-to-date knowledge out of the top models, and that helps understand the recent events better. Finally, Claude Opus 4.5 remains a heavyweight software engineering specialist. It's slightly more expensive, so with GPT 5.2, you get a new option that is almost as good for less money. There's also Grok, It's also good. I probably should try it more often. Their 4.1 release seems solid. Now, for general use, they're all very close. They're all good options. If you'd like to see a more detailed comparison of all these models, let us know in the comments below. Overall, this feels a bit like the original GPT-5 release. A new version, great benchmark scores, at least on the release page, but it seems like OpenAI is slightly undershooting the curve and not meeting the expectations in this hype-obsessed industry. Google has been on an all-out assault for the past month, while OpenAI is just holding the line. It feels like a defensive move to give professionals a few good reasons to stay with a ChatGPT subscription. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into new models, industry news, and learning everything there is to know to stay on top of this industry. That's it from me. See you in the next one.